Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Raging Reveals, day number 13 at this point, where every day we'll be covering all of the new announcements for Leagues 5 as we count up to the launch date on November 27th. Yesterday, we saw all of the Relic passives, including some major changes that is going to make combat and PvM a lot more obtainable early. You'll still get all those efficient bonuses without having to go as far down the traditional Relic tree. However, that all changes with today's update. Combat relics. That's right, if you thought that combat masteries were the end all be all, you were mistaken. Last Stand will allow you to cheat death when you're brought down to 0 HP and put you in an enraged mode at 255 stats in about 10 seconds to just do as much damage as you can, and you'll heal that up at the end of that duration. The Guardian is returning back from Leagues 4. This relic will summon an ally to assist you in combat. Man, what is this? Why am I getting called out? I wake up every morning just trying to have some fun covering the reveals, and now I gotta catch strays like this. You know what? You're right. Guardian pickers are chumps anyways. Whatever, dude. And finally, the special attack relic, Specialist. All special attacks only cost 20% energy and have 100% increased accuracy. In addition, you also refund half that cost if you fail the accuracy roll. And you'll also restore 15% special attack energy whenever you defeat an NPC. So those are today's combat relics: Immortality, a Guardian ally, or being able to unload with your special attacks. I think all three of these were fan favorites from previous leagues, so it's pretty cool to see them come back as combat relics separate from the combat mastery system, and they're all like style agnostic. You can kind of run them in any combat or any build that you're going for with your combat masteries. I remember last year when these all got announced, like nobody even really knew because we didn't have the information. And that's something I really appreciate this year. Whenever the relics are announced, they're also giving us all the detailed information about it, so we actually know how to properly assess it with the numbers. Okay, let's start with Last Stand. This is a cheat death relic, just like Undying Retribution last leaks. If damage would reduce you to 0 HP, you are reduced to 1 HP instead. Your combat stats are then boosted to 255, but they rapidly drain down to your base level over, I think, 9.6 seconds. And that makes sense. For the next 16 ticks after the ability is activated, you cannot be reduced to 0 HP. You are completely immune to damage. Now, when the Last Stand effect runs out, you'll actually get healed for all the damage that you did. I don't know if this is exactly a one-to-one heal, but it seems like it's pretty significant. You're not just going to get healed like 10 HP. You should probably get topped off, assuming you're, hitting any mob and dealing any kind of damage. And just like Undying Retribution, it'll have a 3-minute cooldown, so you're not just going to be able to spam this on repeat. I love the cheat death effect from last year, and it's really cool to see it come back, but with a bit of a twist. Now you are actually incentivized to be doing damage, and actually that Last Stand period, you're also going to have massively inflated numbers. I immediately started thinking about the Mage Tier 6 Combat Mastery, which allows you to execute mobs if they're within your max hit. And when your stats get boosted to 255, I mean, your max hit is going to absolutely skyrocket. I've seen some people say, like, they can get their Shadow max hit as high as, like, 300 with this. I don't even know, though. That sounds ridiculous. And even things like a Blowpipe, apparently, will have their max hit up to, like, 80. Everybody knows how bad it feels when you've been doing Tombs of Amaska all day and then you make a mistake and you accidentally plank on Wardens and now you just wasted like 30 minutes of your time. And Cheat Death allows you to kind of have that extra life. And this just makes all raids and all PvM so much cozier when you get that one free chance. It also means you don't have to rely on food as much when, if you get low health, you can sometimes just die and come back to life. And then, as long as you don't die for another 3 minutes, you're basically good to go. In addition, this is going to be a lot of fun with the Darok set, which wants to stay at 1 HP anyways. You're going to be stuck at that 1 HP, so you have like 10 seconds to just go nuts, do as much damage as you can, try to kill the boss before you run out. And even if you don't, well, it's still like pretty much a full heal, assuming you're doing any amount of good damage. It's a really cool relic. It's a lot of fun to use, although I will say it does suck to go back to the main game, and sometimes you'll just die to like a stupid mechanic, and you expect to come back to life, and you just don't. You just go spawn in the lobby. Definitely happened to me. Okay, next up, Guardian, coming back from last leagues. Basically, it just helps attack what you're attacking. It's like a super thrall. It can even attack in multi-combat and cast AoE attacks. Now, the stats are listed, but basically all you need to know is it's around 3.75 DPS. And if you played the last leagues, you might know about the trick where you could click it every like 2 ticks to resummon it and do more damage. That's been hotfixed. You'll no longer be able to do that. You'll just get flat DPS by summoning the Guardian. I've kind of been a Guardian doubter since like day one. I just don't think it's that interesting. It just adds like flat damage to your build. If you want the extra damage, like go for it. The only thing I think it really helps is if you have a certain monster that you just don't have the appropriate style to take on. And now that builds are more catered around a hybrid style where you will at least have one main style, one off style, I just don't really think the Guardian's the coolest pick, but I mean, it's not like negligible damage. It is like pretty decent. And it can especially help with like getting into like Chambers of Zarek. Maybe you don't really have like a mage weapon or something at the time, and the Guardian can kind of help you with some of those areas. But I just think this is kind of like a boring relic. It does damage, and that's kind of it. Like if it did double damage, it would be broken. If it did half damage, nobody would use it. So I just don't think it's that fun. And finally, Specialist, the special attack relic. This year, it's going to have 20% energy for all special attacks, and they'll get 100% accuracy. So I believe with the passives, that should be 300% accuracy because this is an additive 100% accuracy. So I don't think it gets like doubled twice. I really like this change because 100% accuracy kind of made some special attacks like the Dragon Dagger like insanely good. And I mean, that's not really fun when like the Dragon Dagger is like the best special attack. However, if you do fail an accuracy roll with a special attack, you gain a 10% refund. So you're getting half that back. And here's a really cool one. Whenever you kill an NPC, you'll restore 15% of your special attack energy. I really like this because last year you basically could spam special attacks as much as you wanted. And this kind of led to a lot of like degenerate strategies where you would just chew food and spec and chew food and spec, and it's kind of all you did. Now it still feels like you'll have a lot of special attacks, but you'll have to actually kill some NPCs to restore that. You're not just going to be able to spec infinitely. Any boss that has ads in it is going to be great for this, as you'll be able to kill those for basically free special attack regeneration that you can then use on the boss. Also, in general, this is 5 special attacks that you'll be able to use at the start of every fight. I think this is going to make Total Recall really awesome because you do save your special attacks. So if you save your, I guess, tile or coordinate right at the start of like an instance, you go in, spec out the boss 5 times, finish the kill, and then Total Recall right back to the start of the instance. You're good to go for another 5 specs into the next kill. Pretty cool that it keeps that niche for Total Recall without basically making it infinite, and now Banker's Note is just of the better one for special attack anyways. Now, I don't think that this is an easy decision, but just because we've seen these relics a lot, I don't think there's a lot to say about them. I really think it just comes down to a playstyle choice. Personally, for me, Guardian is just a write-off. I just don't find it very interesting to have that extra damage, and I'm planning on playing a pretty hybrid style that's going to take advantage of 2 different combat styles, so I don't really ever see myself needing the Guardian to begin with. So it's just a 50-50 between Specialist and Last Stand. I've started to really consider going Asgarnia. I do want to mess around with the Dog Sword. I think it's a really fun weapon, and that special attack relic is looking pretty good for me right now. Kind of am thinking about going for it. However, the problem with the special attack relics is like they are fun to use and it can be pretty enjoyable. However, it does get a little bit boring the more you use it because it is kind of like a one-trick pony. You just dump all your spec, usually the mob dies, and you go again. Maybe with the echo bosses, if they have enough health where you'll still have to do more than just spec out a monster 5 times, then yeah, I'll see. Maybe I'll go for this. Otherwise, I think Last Stand is just a great pick here, just because it's going to save you when you do make a mistake for some of that harder content like raids or the Inferno. And I think that the actual Last Stand phase where you're buffed to 255 and you're doing just insane damage trying to kill whatever you can before you come back, that seems like a pretty cool idea. Something I definitely want to try out. I feel like you're going to get some pretty cool max hits. And oh boy, I know there's a lot of people wanting to try this out with Darox and just do some ridiculous numbers. So for me, I'm leaning Last Stand pretty hard. I might give Specialist a try. I've always kind of counted it out because I figured it would get boring. But maybe this is the year that I just slam the Dog Sword on every mob I see. Who knows? Now, before we wrap this up, I do want to speculate that this is probably going to be one of the last like relics that you'll get. Combat has been pushed a lot earlier, so you will be able to start doing PVM a lot earlier than previous leagues. However, I think that putting this as one of the final tiers is going to keep giving people that chase goal, keep doing tasks, keep getting points, and then finally move into those later relic tiers. And if that sounds awful for you, don't forget that a lot of tasks come from PVM, so you can still go and do PVM. You'll get so much from killing bosses, getting kill counts, combat achievements, drops. All that stuff is still on the table, and I'm pretty sure you're going to have no real trouble getting to that final relic tier just by doing PVM, maybe mixing in a bit of skilling for the easier stuff. So I'm really excited to see what people end up settling with. I know personally, I've been kind of wanting to move towards like a blowpipe build because I feel like if I can just stand still and pump damage with a blowpipe, and if I get hit by a mechanic, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna enter in rage mode and do as much damage as I can, and you're probably dead before I even come back alive. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited for this. If you're still thinking about what combat masteries you want to go this year, I've put up 7 incredible builds for a bunch of different playstyles and a bunch of different goals. So check that out. See if you find something you like. Maybe it changes your plans and you completely change them to go for one of the builds I mentioned. Otherwise, the day 1 route will be coming very soon, and I'll see you all tomorrow.